March 4th, 2000. The PlayStation 2 was released in Japan. Less than a month later, its cumulative sales nearly reached 1.5 million units. Exactly a year later, on March 31st, 2001, that number was near 10 million. By the end of its second year in production, the console sold over 20 million units worldwide. It was a phenomenon that captivated the minds of people all over the world. I wanted to say gamers, but the PlayStation 2 went way beyond the regular video game console audience and reached out to the people who probably wouldn't even think of buying a console before. But what exactly made this system so special, and how did it manage to outsell the competition and even drive one of them out of the home console business? Rest in peace, Sega Dreamcast, you were the first to come and the first to go in the 6th generation of consoles. After the incredible success of the original PlayStation, which was based on catering to the needs of developers and providing them with a robust platform to work on, Sony was looking to carry that momentum into the next generation by continuing their extensive support of both in-house and third-party developers, now backed by a player base of over 100 million people. The PlayStation 2 managed to replicate the success of its predecessor, solidifying Sony's dominance in the home console market. A dominance that would bring complacency and turbulent times in the next generation, but that's a story for another day. Sony knew that DVDs were becoming the go-to format at the time and equipped their new console with a disc drive that not only allowed it to play music CDs like the PS1, but also watch movies, making the PlayStation 2 one of the most affordable DVD players at the time. This was the next step in creating an all-in-one entertainment solution, an idea that would be expanded upon in the future generations, with new forms of digital entertainment becoming the norm. The PlayStation 2 was a perfect sequel, providing more opportunities for both developers and consumers to enjoy all the benefits of modern technology. It is partially responsible for the demise of Sega as a console manufacturer, which would lead them to develop exclusive titles for Microsoft's upcoming Xbox, thus creating new competition and rivalry that goes on to this day with dedicated fans of both systems.
I would think that
it doesn't matter what you think, Bill.
It wasn't as bad as in the case of Nintendo creating a new rival back in the 90s, but I do see certain similarities between these two events. It was around this time when video games really started to make their way into the mainstream media, and owning a console was no longer something that mostly kids would want. Some of the games released during the 6th generation are considered timeless classics and have shaped the industry that we all love and know today. For me, the PlayStation 2 was always more than just a gaming console. It was the spirit of its time, an atmosphere, a vibe if you may. This was a system that I grew up with, and my most cherished gaming memories are firmly associated with it. Some of my most beloved game franchises got their start on this system, and not only do I still return to them, but I continue to find new and exciting titles to play with a library of over 4,000 games to choose from. It was a time when things were simpler and games were made and played not due to the current political agenda or corporate market analysis, but more because they were incredibly talented creative people who wanted to share their ideas with the rest of the world, and there was an audience ready to experience them. It was a time of true innovation when it felt like anything that you could imagine, regardless of how questionable, would turn into a fun experience that you could be in control of. It helped that the games were still relatively cheap to create, and Sony's reputation, and arguably the biggest user base at the time, attracted countless young developers with new ideas, as well as industry veterans looking to continue their fruitful relationship that started on the original PlayStation. We finally got in-game graphics that matched the cutscenes so that the promotional materials for games no longer looked like false advertising. It felt like a true generational leap, with developers no longer shackled by the limitations of the previous generation, which to its credit still has collectively one of the best libraries of all time. I mean, in less than a year we moved from this to this. And most importantly, it was a time when the games were made to be fun without condition. The developers had a unique idea and did their best to make it a reality.
PlayStation
Sure, there are lots of questionable games and quite frankly shovelware that in today's world would at best get any traction due to a large discount on the Steam sale or due to some popular streamers making fun of it on a live broadcast. But the number of unique titles that broke the mold of what interactive storytelling could be was staggering. I miss some games were simpler and more complex at the same time. In a way that new ideas and fresh perspectives were welcome, publishers were more willing to take risks and greenlight experimental titles that may or may not succeed. This was peak gaming innovation, and thanks to this Wild West approach we got arguably the biggest number of banger games on a single system to date. GTA wasn't getting one release per decade with slight graphical adjustments of the current version. Action games were great with titles like God of War, Devil May Cry, Onimusha and Prince of Persia. This was an era when 3D platformers were at the peak of their power. Ratchet & Clank, Jak and Daxter and Sly Cooper made their debut on this console, with returning franchises like Spyro, Crash Bandicoot and Rayman in their new and improved three-dimensional glory. This was a system that hosted some of the best stealth games of all time, like Splinter Cell, Hitman and of course Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, games that redefine not only their respective genre, but the entire industry with the beautiful mind of Hideo Kojima. The PlayStation 2 is home to many unique one-of-a-kind games like Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, Okami, God Hand, Samurai Western, Killer 7 and Fahrenheit to name a few. The Yakuza series began on this console and made its way to the present day, both canonically and actually. Racing games were incredible with Gran Turismo and Need for Speed hitting their absolute apex. The horror genre really benefited from the new hardware with both established franchises like Resident Evil and Silent Hill, and many new and terrifying games like Fatal Frame, Siren, Kuon and Haunting Grounds. Final Fantasy made a successful transition into the new millennium with 10, 10-2 and 12, not to mention Final Fantasy XI, the first MMORPG in the series. Some of the greatest RPGs of all time came out on the PS2, Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, Persona 3 and 4, Digital Devil Saga, Dragon Quest VIII, Kingdom Hearts, Drakengard, Xenosaga, Arc the Last Twilight of the Spirits. The list goes on and on and on. Hell, even sports and movie tie-in games were the best.
What a ledge! Hat-trick hero!
Honestly, when was the last time you said, wow, this new FIFA game is actually fun to play, or oh, this platformer based on a popular cartoon is awesome? I can go on for a very long time remembering all of the great titles that came out for the PlayStation 2. The important thing here is that all of them were different. They had a personality and an attitude, which is so lacking these days, with cookie-cutter, safe, user-friendly, sensible games that try to cater to everyone, but actually touch no one. It's hard to imagine that it's been 25 years since the PlayStation 2 launched. So many great memories were made thanks to this console, so many amazing games were played, and so many things changed during its life cycle. Nowadays, when gaming consoles are nothing more than glorified gaming PCs with their own operating systems, I can't help but feel nostalgic for the time when everything offered a different experience and it wasn't just about definition or frame count. I miss this era of gaming, and not only because I was an impressionable kid with an endless world to uncover. I miss this era and the PlayStation 2 in particular because back then, the most important thing in a game was having fun and enjoying the moment. So, happy birthday, PlayStation 2. Thank you for my childhood, thank you for so many things that we experienced together. And I believe we might never have another console like that. We may never have another generation like this. But that's kind of what makes the old consoles so unique, isn't it? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and comment. What was your favorite game on the PlayStation 2? Which games you come back to? I did mention quite a few of them in this video, so maybe you can make your own additions to this list. And yeah, I hope you also celebrate the 25th anniversary of the PlayStation 2 in some glorious fashion, maybe play one of your favorite PS2 titles. And in the meantime, I wish everybody a pleasant day, and thank you for joining. Take care, have a good day, and remember, only play games that are worth your time. See you in the next video. Bye.